thank you for lovely individuals who have joined us again for Closed Captions. This is actually our first live that we're doing with Closed Captions this year. If you have been on my Facebook, the one Will Focus, you've noticed that sometimes I post questions that start with a CC, and that stands for Closed Captions. Essentially what it is a discussion between the black man and the black woman about things that affect black society. So, before we get into what today's topic is going to be and what we're touching on, we're actually going to introduce ourselves. Just real quick, if y'all want to give a brief introduction, ain't got to be nothing serious. Let people know who you are, what you do, because after the live is done, we're also going to upload it and then make sure other people get the video so that they can see what we were discussing as well. So, I'll let y'all, I don't know if y'all want to rock, paper, scissors, do something to figure out if we want to go clockwise, counterclockwise, and facing opposites.
Set it off.
I'll set it off. I'm going to set it off for. My name is Joshua Sabra. I'm a communications artist. It means I communicate artistically.
Hey fam, I'm Taj. I'm a author, educator, and performance artist. I'm Benawar, and I'm a creative.
I'm Tristan. I'm a risk management advisor and an entrepreneur.
All right. So we got that. Behind the scenes, we have two people. You can't see us. It's like Black Jesus over here. Anyway, we got thing one and thing two. That would be myself, Will Focus. I'm a illustrator and graphic designer, but I like to build systems for people of color to help in our liberation. So we ain't got to depend on certain aspects. So, but I'll keep it brief, and then we'll move to.
I am Nay Marie. I'm the founder of Taji Mag, which is a black cultural publication on Instagram at Taji Magazine.
She's not hyping up.
It's the bomb. She's not. Taji Mag.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep real still. I'm holding two cameras.
Yeah, she's over here. She's over here manning two cameras. So,
question. This is on Closed Caption or on Will Focus?
This one is on Will Focus. That one's on Closed Caption.
And this one's on Taji Magazine.
And yeah, so we got three different.
Yeah, so poppin'. Go ahead.
International.
So, just before we start, y'all are all comfortable. Just speaking honestly, right? All right.
Very much so.
That's all that matters. As long as we're comfortable speaking honestly. So, what I want to touch on is interracial relationships and how that pertains and affects people within the black community. I'll give everybody an opportunity to just talk, dialogue, back and forth. There is no specific order in which you are talking. You're talking to each other. It's a conversation. So if somebody wants to jump in, do so. Of course, we're going to do so politely, give each other time to speak. But y'all already know that because y'all are beautiful people. So, all right. So let's start this conversation off, and let's build it within the context of Meghan Markle and Donald Trump. How about that? All right. So we're
What
going
an
to build it within
interesting
that
context, Will.
Yes, I know it is. It is interesting. So let me add some context to that situation. So the This Is America video came out, and when that video actually came out, it was it was striking to a lot of people. A lot of people felt it, but it took a weird twist and turn where people were questioning the authenticity of Donald Glover.
For sure.
And the authenticity was based on two things. Number one, his current relationship and or his views of black women as a whole. He was getting seemingly backlash from that. Now, I'm going to jump to Meghan Markle. We all know about the royal wedding and what's been going on with that, things that have been happening. The interesting thing with the Meghan Markle situation is that she got married, and her being an actual product of a biracial relationship or an interracial relationship, she got married, and she was getting a lot of praise across the internet. A lot of people were tuned into the royal wedding. So what I've noticed is that a lot of black men were expressing that they weren't happy with how Meghan Markle was being praised in her relationship, but they approached Donald Glover in a different way. So I want to get your feedback on that, whether or not there's any validity to these feelings that the black men were expressing, whether or not you noticed anything on your own, then you're going to add context to the conversation. So we can start with whoever wants to go first.
I feel like I talked a lot, so I don't want to talk first.
Word.
I don't know if I have to though.
I mean,
To a degree, I can see where some black men would feel that way. With the Meghan Markle wedding, that royal wedding. I mean, my thing is, first off, I don't know, does she even necessarily identify as a black woman?
She does
to
not.
begin with?
She does not.
She is a proud biracial woman. Before we even, go deeper into it, I think that's the first thing. And I think that also kind of skews how we can view things. And I do feel like sometimes as black women, when we see a woman of color in that type of position, we're quick to try to cling on to it. And if she doesn't identify as a black woman, then black women don't have to make it, our business to try to claim her if she does not believe that is who she is. I don't know if she does or doesn't, but if that's the case, then we'll just let her be. With Donald Glover and him being in an interracial relationship, like some people have argued, well, he doesn't fit within the confines of a typical black American man. He has this geeky, nerdy, awkward thing about him, and the average black girl, if he wasn't famous, wouldn't have given him the time of day. So can you really be mad at him for being in an interracial relationship? And my thing is no, because there are plenty of black girls that are just as awkward and quote unquote nerdy as him. So we can't use that as a scapegoat, because I think there are plenty of black women that would have, regardless of whether or not he was famous, would have wanted to build something with him. And I'm not coming for anybody that's in an interracial relationship to do interracial relationship. You do what you want to do, but I do see that there is, to a degree, there are some sort of double standards when it's between black men and black women engaging in interracial relationships. How it's viewed by other people.
For sure. Piggybacking off of what Benoit said, does anyone remember when it was going around that Michael B. Jordan had a significant other who was not black, and the story was online that black women were just so upset with this man?
Yes.
Does everybody know that was a fabrication of the internet?
I do.
I want to start there because the internet has a very, very common tendency to take a black woman or two's opinion, pass it off as the dominant narrative, and then demonize black women as a whole because this person or that person had a strong opinion that they shared, and now all of a sudden all the black women in the universe are upset with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, it was like a fake protest against the movie and all that.
A legit fake protest. Like, who has the time? It's just wild. And most of the black women that I'm in community with, their standing is, listen, I'm not concerned with what you're doing because it's not my business. But do not throw black women under the bus because you choose to have a relationship or a baby or a family or whatever with someone else. And I feel like that's how most sensible people feel. It's not really my business what you're doing or not doing or who you're doing it with. But if the reasoning behind it is black women are this, black women are ghetto, black women are loud, they're lazy, they're out of shape, they don't like me because I'm a nerd. I've been a nerd my whole life and I got a nerd-ass black husband at home. So I can't take that rhetoric seriously. And we've both been a nerd the whole time. He put me onto so much anime, like he put my son on, they play Fortnite together, and it's beautiful. So for me to hear those things, it's just like, who are you even around people that behave this way? Or is this a narrative that you heard internalized and now you're just saying it because you heard it and it sounds good? Because there are just as many ostracized, nerdy black girls as there are black guys. And we really need to come to terms with the fact that a lot of the stuff we're saying and feeling about each other is not rooted in reality. It's rooted in these narratives that we've attached ourselves to. And we really need to go out to the world and talk to people and not generalize black women, because it's so easy to black women are this, black women are that. I see it very often, and it always makes me upset, because black women are the same women that are holding all of this together. We go hard for everybody. And I think the difference wasn't just about Donald Glover's relationship. I feel like a lot of people felt like it was opportunistic of him to talk about these things in this political climate, when he's someone who has already been on the chopping block for things he said about black women and his views. I remember him one time specifically, he was like, I like black girls of other races. Like, for example, he was like, Filipino women are the black women of Asian women. He said this.
And
These are things the man said.
Armenian
and so when
women
black
are the
women
black
were like,
women of
I
white
wonder
women.
if this connection he's made and his choice of spouse has to do with these views, it was like, oh, black women are hating. It's like, no, we're just trying to make sense of what's going on, because this is America Donald does not match this other Donald that we're acclimated with, and we seem to be the only ones paying attention to that Donald because we're the people he's disparaging. Because every time I brought it up, people are like, oh man, black women, you guys are so angry. I'm like, one, who's angry? Two, do y'all understand why? Because the assumption was, oh, his girlfriend, y'all just can't say, who got so mad at his non-black girlfriend? We don't know that girl. But he needs to keep our names out of his mouth. He could date who he want, he could procreate with who he want. Don't make it about us and what we not doing and what we don't like.
Did he say something negative about black women? Is that what you're saying?
He said that black women didn't like him. Black women don't, and then it was so interesting because that spiraled into this whole black women hate black nerds conversation that's still going on social media, which is crazy.
I'll jump in.
Please jump in.
I don't think that's accurate to say black women don't like black nerds. I think
Exactly.
America don't like nerds, right? That's kind of the general idea. So if you white, if you whatever, they hate on the nerds. Black people are already just ostracized for everything. So we get extra sensitive when we feel like, yeah, I'm unique and different, but dang, y'all should love me because I'm black. And you don't, so now I'm feeling ostracized by my own people too. Like everybody else hates me, and you don't like me too. I can't say I was a black nerd. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't know, right?
And there's different degree of
There's
nerds,
different degree
right?
of it,
Like,
So like, I don't know how to define that, honestly. Yeah, read comic books, anime. I was the hip nerd. I was the nerd at the cool table, as one of my boyfriends from the Bronx said, right? Like, I was always uncomfortable, insecure. I felt out of place with black people in general. And so I always felt awkward, and trying to talk to black women was a really intimidating thing. And black women, in general, from my experience, here's the catch-22. They're really forgiving and they're really expecting, right? They want you to be the greatest, but they'll also forgive you for being your worst. So it's a weird dynamic for any man who don't know who he is to be in that situation. It's a mind swirl of, should I be the man or should I get this nurturing? I don't know. I'm raggedy as hell and I need to be healed, but I should be the man protecting you. I don't know. What should I be doing? You got raped. I got raped. Who should be cuddling who? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's confusion on the black man and the black woman's side. And so I think making it a gender-specific thing, saying black men don't like black women or black women don't like black men, either way, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? As a black man, I've heard it often, black women saying that we don't like y'all in general. Nerd or popular or whatever, cute, ugly, straight hair, that man. I just hear y'all say we don't think black men are checked for black women, and that makes me scratch my head every time I hear it.
But
I'm
I
like,
think it
what?
comes from the difference in how these situations are received.
Based
I
on
think
what?
it-
What do you mean?
In general, I think that it almost felt like black men could not wait to drag black women for celebrating Meghan Markle's wedding.
So let's take that, what you just said, and let's build on that specifically.
Because that's a real trigger.
Okay, because what you just said is something that's very key to what I personally have noticed, and I'm only putting this out there to give y'all an opportunity to add to this. I noticed that there was a retaliation once black men stated that they, at whatever point in their lives, certain black men were not appreciated as that type of black men by black women, right? And there was a tug of war. It was sort of like a pushback. And black women's response was, don't blame black women for your problems, right? So it was a weird issue thing. What I would say is, did you notice that there was a negative response to black men saying that that was their truth? Do you feel they were honestly feeling that way, or do you feel that was something they were just conjuring up in the moment?
Just real quick, I'm gonna throw this out just as a context thing. Mm-hmm. I did a video series a couple years back where I was going around asking black women, do you think black men want black women? Right? This is the whole conversation. It was really about how women felt about how black men wanted them and that sort of thing, and how they felt about wanting black men. And I remember interviewing this one sister, and she was talking about how she was like, you could see it in her energy that she was hot about black men dating white women. She was hot. Like I could see it, like it was in her mitochondria. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really bothering this sister. And then the conversation got to black women dating white men, and she softened up and was like, well, I mean, yeah. And I was like, how could you? Because I was like, and in the course of that conversation while we talked about it, she had this pause going like, oh, that is shady, ain't it? And she recognized it and still couldn't shake it off like, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I think that means there is a communication issue between black men and women. I think we know this as a general rule, but I think we should be really specific about the fact that we're coming at the same thing from different angles. And so while you're saying T-H-A-T is that, and I'm like T-A-H-T, and when we start arguing about how to spell that, because we're coming at it from different angles, but we talking about the same thing, but since we come in from different angles and won't take the time to like, let me come on that side of it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because we don't do that, we be so attached to our own trauma and feeling like you betrayed me, you weren't there for me, and so you need to make it up to me on both sides. So the men are sitting here like, well, the woman should have held me down in a certain way. And the women are like, well, you should have held me down in a certain way. And because we both arguing with each other, the guy on the other side who put us in this situation is sitting there videotaping and going viral and getting rich off of us beefing with each other for the drama he caused. So I'm saying I feel like we be battling each other about an issue that's not actually our issue. You see what I'm saying?
I feel like
that if we would say, here's the issue, we love each other, but we don't know how to love each other. Let's work on that versus, you don't love me right. And that's kind of how our conversation's been going. Whenever I really hear what brothers and sisters are saying, they're saying, you don't love me right. You don't understand what I need for me to feel healthy and to feel happy. Somebody said, does a black man feel supported and nurtured in interracial relationships? I don't know because I haven't been in one, but I doubt it. But they feel less challenged. Being with a black woman is a challenge to a black man because...
Oh shit, there it go.
That's for real.
There it go.
Because it puts us in a position to say, am I going to be 100 and be who I'm supposed to be, or am I going to keep riding out on this fake ass reality that society accepts and won't kill me for being like this?
Are you code switching in your relationship?
So we be code switching, exactly. So what I'm saying, Angelique Luna, is that no, they don't feel supported and nurtured, but they don't feel challenged. And that to a black man who don't know what manhood feels like, don't know what a healthy relationship feels like, don't know what a supportive woman feels like, to just not be challenged, to not feel like I have to be accountable for the last 400 years of your happiness and your stress, makes some men feel like, I can relax a little bit. I can feel like I'm the man in this. Whereas more often than not, when we see a black woman, we see the white man that raped you and we couldn't be there to protect you. And so you expecting us to do something, but we don't know what to do because that would mean I'm going to have to get killed for you. But you told me don't get killed for you because you want me to stick around. So we stuck in this conundrum of, you told me don't do it, but I really want to. You told me to get a job. I hate them. What should I do? Should I listen to what you're saying because you don't want to leave me? Or should I listen to my manhood and say, go to battle even if you die? I think that's the real conundrum of the American or the westernized black man.
I think we need to rethink manhood, right?
Facts.
Because why is your manhood rooted in something that is unhealthy for not only you, but also your spouse, your children, your community? I know why.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we all know why.
Mandatory
right?
compulsory
We
education.
all know why.
Right.
We all know where we got our ideas of manhood
Right.
from, but how long are we going to be be bringing that to the table when we are trying to talk about trauma, because healing cannot happen without accountability. So if we're talking about you hurt me, I hurt you, we also have to keep our conversations based in reality, right? Because when the topic of conversation is white supremacy, nobody has a problem. When the topic of conversation comes to misogynoir and sexism,
That's real.
then we want to have conversations about, well, we're all the same and we need to hold each other down. There's levels to this shit. So yes, we're all dealing with the white man and we're all being internally, externally destroyed by systems put in place specifically to harm us. But that is exactly why we have to check ourselves and nurture each other. So of course the trauma is relevant and healing is important, but there can be no healing without accountability. And I feel like I have never heard any of the black girl nerds that I grew up with going off about how black men didn't want them. It happened. It's valid. It's real. It's their story. But at no point did they all get online together and decide that this was a narrative that they were gonna make, you know, like elevate and make a point of contention. Because there's always been black nerds there. Or anything we do. I just went viral. I was telling him earlier today, I made this Afro goth album. Black alternative people, emo people. It was dope. And so many black people were in the thread like, yo, this is so fly because I feel seen. I was never appreciated for this as a black goth. Nobody accepted me. Nobody was messing with it. I was the only black person in my town. Or yo, the other black people around me, they wasn't really banging with me because I was wearing all this black and these chokers and these fishnets, and they didn't understand. And so that's a lot of our reality. That's a lot of our reality in a myriad of ways, because nerds aren't the only quote-unquote weird black people, right? There's so many different quirks that when we have them, we're ostracized and demonized for them, and we're told, oh, that's white. There's so many things that applies to. But to suggest that black women specifically, we're not checking for black male nerds specifically, I feel like I feel like it's an unfair reach.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean it's not true, but I'm just wondering why, you know, like,
it's true.
I'm sure it happened. Of course it happened.
I want to get your opinion. And I only say that because I've been observing y'all as the conversation has been progressing. So I want to hear
more specifically
how you
that face,
specifically
right?
feel with regards to the situation. I want to hear your thoughts. Well, I want to start with Trisha and hear your thoughts.
All right. Can you model that framework?
Okay, so what we just heard essentially
It was
is
a lot.
There's a lot.
It was a,
okay. So let's
go back to the question.
let's break it down into just this portion. How do you feel in terms of validity of black men saying that, or black male nerds specifically saying that black women weren't particularly checking for them, as it compares to like how black women were celebrating the Meghan Markle situation, as opposed to how black men felt they weren't celebrating or they were attacking Donald Glover in his situation?
Generally, from my experience, and from what I see, so I'm prefacing myself very carefully before I've always seen like the pendulum not be even. I've always seen, you know, if a black man even thinks about dating a white woman or whatever the case may be, he's not a man, he's this, blah blah blah. He's that lynching, whatever. But when it's a female, oh you go girl, or you know, like the black man did something for her to go interracial. Oh, just like the Serena thing. You know, I heard nothing but everybody felt hurt, so she had to go out for
The right guy.
Right. And then you saw a lot of, I saw a lot of black men saying like, damn, what did we do wrong? I'm like, you ain't doing nothing wrong, she made a choice. You know, if somebody put a gun in her head, that's her choice. But on the flip side, it's like, you know, even with like athletes and just black men in general, it's just like, damn, he always gotta go to a white woman, or he always gotta do this, da 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 da. And that's just what I see more often. I mean, I don't know what's going on in everyone else's world, in everyone else's mind. I guess they're seeing their interpretation of the facts or reality is relevant to them. But from what I see, you know, without bias and just being very objective, it's not even. For me, it is not even. But more so,
Makes me think of scandal.
That's another one.
Bruh.
That's another one.
I wonder about the role for a
That's
person.
another-
If a black president
that's
with a
the
white woman.
point. That is kind of like the
I don't think
point.
black women should
It's
live
not-
in
it's just
that.
not even. But I hear a lot more rhetoric and, like you said, that hot energy from black women, like about woo, 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 woo. But it's like, but what about you? Oh, and I've experienced that too. So I was just like, but didn't you date, you know, white boy for 2 years? Well, yeah. I was like, yo.
That's interesting. I know so many people that won't even watch Scandal, specifically because
Hands up.
there is a black woman messing with a married white president. Like, there are entire pages dedicated to bad. So, like, trust me, they out there, fam.
I watched it.
I mean,
the
I
second
would,
season,
that's why I
triggered
that's why I said, you know, I would not say that's not
My
true.
DNA.
Like, just from my experience, just from what I see, I just see it more heavily weighed like the black man is just, as it relates to interracial dating, it's just like he's really damned if you do either way. You
Can
know?
I ask
But-
if, can I ask if, in your experience, that there, a lot of times what I find is there's always like a reasoning that relates to something negative about black women for those relationships. So I wanted to ask if that's something that you hear or see. Like, oh, well, I don't mess with black women because X, Y, and Z.
Fair enough, yes. I've heard that very heavily.
Okay.
Yes, that is true. Although I've heard it on both sides, you know, particularly, you know. All right, this, okay. All right.
Dig in.
I hear it more so like that with the men, but I hear with the women as if it's more like a trophy type of aspect. Like it's, you know, I got a white man type
Really?
of yeah.
Let's. You just said that because you were surprised, right?
I was, man.
You were surprised.
That was genuine, bro.
Have you listened to any of Nicki Minaj's recent lyrics?
I did not. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh.
I didn't hear the songs. I did see someone asking what she was doing with her life, saying something about a white man. I did not hear it though.
Yeah, that was your friend Nick.
She basically said she's fly, just bad the white guy.
I
But
saw.
go ahead.
Check this out. You look at like Eve. You look at Sanaa Lathan. And I just had another album. I thought. You look at the anime shows when the quote unquote successful, you know, black people who can't find a good black man gotta go to Italy to get the white boy.
I read about that. That was very strange. I didn't like that at all. No.
But they glorify it, they glamorize it, they promote it, they put the narrative out there, and I'm just thinking like, what are they doing in terms of the projections, everyone else? They're making it like this is a good standard.
What's
But-
interesting too, though, I feel like I do agree that that's something that's being celebrated, but I think right now it's so overt on that side. Whereas black men and pop culture and hip hop culture for so long has been glorifying the acquisition of non-black women. There are so many songs, Riding with a China Doll, My Latina, like it's never, like everything is all foreign everything.
All my whips, all my chicks.
So now I feel like it's grating to us as a community and to black men particularly that there's such a outright celebration of interracial relationships. But on the flip side, that celebration of non-black women, that's been going on for decades, and particularly in our music. All these black men, a lot of whom we see with non-black women, they are letting us know up front, I'm not checking for y'all. Where the Spanish girls at? Where the Asian girls at? Where the black girls that ain't from the States at? Where the straight haired girls at? Where the light eyed girls at? And I'm not even saying like, oh, I'm not coming for anybody. But what I'm saying is we are not even, I don't think we've acknowledged how the celebration of non-black women has been internalized Like, this is very natural. We sing along and we don't even think about it. And these are prominent artists. I'm talking about T.I., the King album, which is my favorite album he's ever made. Rolling through the city, sitting pretty, I'm China Dog, riding with a couple Latin broads and a China Dog. Like, that's the norm. That's the norm. And I think that now that we're having the conversation, we kind of have to go back and recognize that this has been embedded. Go get you something that's not.
It has.
Go get you another kind of girl. Cause
Right. All right. I want, and you can jump in. Where I would challenge that from what I'm seeing is that we talk. It's all right, artists. You know, a lot of them do. What they do as far as like, the inner city fight background. Drugs, this, that, and the third. Coming from nothing, yada yada. I gotta bust my gun, da da da. Whereas on the flip side, I'm seeing the highly successful black woman, the one who's educated, yada yada yada. It's good to celebrate that, transition with a white person or someone from another ethnic background. Whereas opposed to I do selling drugs, spitting a 16 bar, whatever the case may be. They're promoting, all right, well, we want the China doll, we want the Spanish chick, we want X, Y, and Z in the video, but it's like, to me, like, the parallel is a little bit kind of like, it's a little bit interestingly different to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't see too much like, all right, a successful, established, black male, although they're out there, it's very prevalent, they are, but I don't see like just a full-fledged promotion of like, all right,
how is that not full-fledged promotion though? And
I
why
don't
do you
see
assume that because they're rapping about busting their gun or those type of things that they're not? These are very successful people and they're very influential people. Hip hop is a global phenomenon. You got little black girls and boys hearing that Latin broad China doll stuff. And this conversation we're having about black women celebrating interracial. This is recent.
So
that
look,
Italy show, that's recent.
But look, I don't think it's fair to assess or judge real black people by mainstream media in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If these rappers are talking about
That's not what I was trying to do.
No, I'm not talking about you in specific. I'm saying this whole idea of this promotion of like the basketball players, the actors, the black men who are dating white women are the ones who have been processed and accepted into the mainstream American culture. These aren't the average brothers. The average brothers don't get accepted into those circles. You see what I'm saying? So they should not be representative of the regular brothers in this situation. These should be representative of the people who get into the higher echelon of white society. In the story, call it Western, call it capitalist. They're not
I brought it up because of the influence that they wield.
And I agree on that. But what I'm saying is that I don't feel like we should be calling into account people who have been propped up by our historic enemies and saying, I don't like the influence you're having on me. Their influence on us being negative is intentional. Like, that's why they were selected. When what's the name, Gunmo 69 or 69 Gunmo, something like that, was one of my students loved this guy. And I looked at him like, how the hell y'all love this Halloween looking character, right? But energetically, they don't know either. But the mainstream media, who knows how to cook up all of our emotions, know exactly who to put in position to grab up all of our youth and influence the hell out of them. So I appreciate there being a closed caption, a Taji magazine, these things where we get to present our authentic voices. Because we keep blaming our real truth, our real people keep catching flack for these media coons that ain't really us. They are bought and paid for to present an image to influence the rest of us. So I feel like we plan ourselves by saying, hey, they have this big influence on us and we should hold them accountable, instead of saying, ignore the hell out of them. And the evidence is in the decisions they make. If they are destroying their own race, family, culture, whatever, if they can't see the beauty and strength in a black woman, these should not be role models for us. And if we keep saying, well, they're our role model because they're rich. Even on J. Cole's recent album, he's talking to the mumble rappers, checking them, and then there's a line where he says, but I love to see a black man getting paid. So that's always our fallback. Like, as long as you get money, I can't really hate on what you're doing. And I negate that, man. Like, I ain't the one for selling.
I negate that
you know
as
what I'm
well.
saying?
But we also have to be realistic, right? Because I work with kids, and just like you
Me
said,
too.
like you don't know why the hell these kids like this person, but they do. They do.
I know why, because I talk to them. Like, I do rap and hip hop. I do poetry with the students, so I know. I
So
talk to
you
them
know
like,
what it
is
is.
about this? I
Like
do.
we as adults particularly, of course we can separate the person from the the art from the artist, and we can make all these distinctions, and we can say Lil Wayne is talking this craziness, even though he went to college and he has a psychology degree. We can make those distinctions, but I think we have to.
I don't like R. Kelly or his music or none of that.
Chocolate, R. Kelly, music,
Exactly, that's
no,
what I'm saying.
none of that. But I'm just saying that we can not see these people as gods, and also not deny that what they do and say and the ideas that they promote has an impact. Because as soon as it's something positive that a black person is doing, we like, represent for the culture. So now if it's negative, it can't be like, oh, well, they don't speak for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not either or.
That's real.
Both. We have the positive stuff that we like, and we need to really examine the stuff that we don't like. Because even if it's not something that we're doing, we have to realize the effects of that trickle down. They may not even be living the stuff that they're singing, but our kids want to.
Okay, so let's exclude celebrity culture
Sure.
for a second. Let's take that out of the equation. Let's look at these instances as genuine stories from us without the influence of celebrity culture. I want to point out one thing, and I think it's interesting that everybody is saying what I've seen. We can all agree that most of social media is based on algorithms, right? Mm-hmm. So you see what you interact with. If you take that into consideration, naturally, if you're speaking with people who don't address that topic and or are not experiencing that, you'll never see it.
Facts.
If you start watching videos of our people being killed on the streets, you notice that you start to see more of it populate on your timeline, et cetera, right? So let's pretend for a second that both of these truths exist, and that at some point in a young nerdy black boy and young nerdy black girl's life, there was black men and or black guys and black girls who did not like them respectively and weren't checking for them. How do you then tell them that you are still checking for them and get them to believe this?
Yeah. You know what? That's a great question. I think it's easily discernible, actually. Mm-hmm. Because this is what I've noticed historically, is that white people are able to infiltrate black situations because they find the person who is ostracized, the person who is left out, the person who is lonely, the nerdy one, the ugly one, the too black, too light. They find that person who's sitting by themselves feeling all alone, and they step up to them and show them mad love. They edify them. They tell them something great about something. Bro, you picked the best shoes ever. I'm not going to talk about your hairline. Like everybody else. I'm going to avoid the whole subject. I'm not even going to look above your neck. But your shoes, though, I'm going to make you feel great about them. You see what I'm saying? Now that I bonded with you and you feel some sense of validation with me, now I got you. So what I'm saying, if we just like reverse engineer that and see how much of us feel alone, and stop this whole separation and this whole judgment and just go show them some love. Because the white people that you know, I hate making a race sounding thing. People in here like, but it's, let me say the Western, the capitalist, the scarcity mindset comes to the people who have a scarcity of love and attention. And then they give them some. But it's fake. It's these seedless fruits. You know what I'm saying? It's Kool-Aid. And they say, man, you ain't never had no juice before? You see what I'm saying? You don't love this juice. What's your favorite flavor? Red juice. You see what I'm saying? And so we get addicted to this and we start thinking that's reality. And that's where I feel like this discussion we having right now is we talking about Kool-Aid, but in our minds we think we talking about juice. You see what I'm saying? Like, we want juice, we need juice, we recognize juice, but then we keep arguing about the best flavor of Kool-Aid. Like, I really feel like our dynamic is set by the scarcity mindset. And so every time we start talking about the problems with scarcity, all we're doing is spinning ourselves in circles. And until we start talking about how do we address our situation with abundance, I have enough love for all the black people I ever see. It's a different mindset for it's just me and mine. I love my mama and my bed. You see what I'm saying? And we're supposed to celebrate that type of mentality of I just love mine. It's me and mine. Me and mine. It's all about me. It's you only live once instead of this abundance of like I got infinite life. From Africa, it's fruits and vegetables everywhere. I'm not from Europe where I gotta look for 3 months for one squirrel and then share that with 30 people. So maybe I might say, you want this squirrel leg? Let me have your daughter. You see what I'm saying? That's a scarcity thing. Versus abundance is like, yo, I got enough. Let me share with you. So when you see that person sitting there by himself looking like, dang, don't nobody check for me, you go check for him. It's really that simple. You roll up on him with some love, give him an apple, share something. Say, yo, you picked the best shoes in this room. I love your head wrap, sister. I'm not going to talk about the fact that I don't like nappy hair. I like your head wrap. You see what I'm saying? We be quick to want to go correct somebody. You know, if you would straighten your hair, you would get farther in your business. You know, if you would stop talking so black, they would buy your books more. We start telling each other how to be less us and how to be more acceptable, how to be more processed and packaged. And when we do that, somebody who loves themselves will be like, I ain't checking for you. I'm going to go sit by myself. And when they sit by themselves, that's when the scarcity be like, they ain't getting enough love in their life. I'm about to cook them. So all we got to do is do that in a genuine way. Not that I'm going to hook you and use you, but like, yo, that's my people right there. And I don't want to see you sad. I don't want to see none of my people feeling this way. Yo, what's good? Let me get you a smoothie. What you eating today? What you drinking? You see what I'm saying? Not because I'm trying to get at you. Don't give me your number today, but please take this smoothie. You see what I'm saying? What you drinking? Have some vodka. You look like you had a bad day. Like, hook them up on some love, whatever they need. Buy them a bag of crack if they need it. I don't care, because a white guy will do it.
Don't buy him a bag of crack.
Don't buy them crack. Listen to the ladies. Don't buy them crack. Don't buy them crack. But y'all hear what I'm saying? Sit with them while they do their crack. And don't tell them it's bad. Don't tell them to burn some incense and offer them an apple. I'm telling y'all, stop telling black people what's wrong with them. Because if we all in the belly of the beast and you keep saying, good, you got gastrointestinal juices on you. And you sitting there saturated in them yourself, but you wash your face off and you feeling
science joke.
I'm like that. I'm a spiritual technologist. That's how I do things. But I'm saying, like, we all in the belly of the beast, but some of us got our face clean and we looking at somebody else like, ugh, you all filthy. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, yo, you filthy and me too. Let's get out of here together. You're like, ugh, you nasty, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. You seem so comfortable in that. You know what I mean? Instead of like, yo, we all in this. And you ain't no yuckier than me. Even though I had a clean enough hand, thankfully, and you didn't, now I'm hating on you. That's what I'm saying. Like, we can't be hating on the people doing crack because all that means is they didn't have a community, so they had to find some way to meet the need. And if all they had was this dude on the corner like, bro, come here, bro, what's wrong? What's wrong? That's it. Here, take this. That's community. You see what I'm saying? And so when they didn't have a person, they had a chemical.
At the time.
It does. I'm saying our bodies are real chemical things. We get a chemical reaction from love. You see what I'm saying? If you don't hug enough people, you don't feel good enough. And so you're going to start looking for something to fill that chemical need. Your body needs endorphins. If you don't get them, you're going to go looking for them. So if you don't have community, if you see a dude who ain't never got a hug in his life and you hating on him because he's smoking something, you the one that's shaking. You see what I'm saying? That's how I feel, because you're not compassionate about how did that person get there. Ain't no baby coming out the womb like, crack pipe. It's a process that got in there. And until we are sensitive enough to our situation collectively and compassionate enough to see a crackhead and be like, man, you was somebody's baby. You could be somebody's father or mother. You're somebody's brother and sister. You're my brother and sister. I'm not going to hate on you for having no community to help you through your heart. God damn it. How many times do I have to get lashes on my back, see my mama get raped before it's okay to me to do some crack to feel better? You see what I'm saying? Like, what kind of trauma do I have to go through for y'all to say, dang, I get it. I see why you like that. Instead of being like, oh, it's better options. You could be doing this. It's these options that can make you better. And I feel like because we keep doing that to each other, that's when the white folks slide up and be like, you like crack? Here.
Let me ask
Have
you
some cocaine. I'll hook you up even better. You see what I'm saying? They show love, and that's how they get us.
It's interesting you said how they get in, right? So I've noticed there have been two conversations that have happened, and I want y'all to individually come down the line and give your opinions on it. So there's a concept that, as far as interracial relationships go, that black women say, well, you weren't strong enough. as a black man to handle a black woman. That's why you went outside of your race for a relationship. And there's also another conversation that black men say, well, you tone down your attitude for this person outside of the black race. You're not the same person when you're dating outside of your race. How do you feel about those statements? Because they both are saying that one person is different.
Right.
It's just saying, hey, you weren't strong enough for a black woman. She's not going to want somebody who's not strong enough to handle a black woman. And then on the flip side, the black man is saying, well, you were being this way with me, but when it's with this other person, white person, indifferent, whatever, you're a completely different person. You're softer. You're toned down. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I mean, I even seen it with my mother. You know, the way she used to treat the men in her life. You know, like my father and sisters' fathers. Like, it was always, you know, a directive of like, you know, you need to do this, you're not doing that, blah, 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 blah. But my mother had a white boyfriend. Actually, was a nice guy. I actually liked him. He was a cool dude. David. I enjoyed him because he was, I said he was a nice guy, but she would just, inflections, mannerisms, everything changed around her. Like, it got lighter. She started to laugh. I was like, damn, I didn't even know she could laugh. Like, she, you know, and, you know, wanted to make jokes and, you know, try to appease him and assimilate when we would go out and be around his family. And even at the age of 10, I would sit there and be like, that's not, you know, that's not who you are. You know, it's like, that's not how I know you to be. So, but, you know, with my sister's father, when they were off and on, it was just like a fight, an argument all the time, and just always want to tell them off. And I used to always see, like, I didn't notice it then, but like as I'm, you know, actualizing it now, I'm like, my mom used to do that very heavily. And then I even see women in my family, they used to do the same type of thing. Like with every single meal, and there was always some level of strife, and always some level of, oh, he was this, he was that, he was this, he was that. But when, and this is another thing, there's been a pattern in my family. Most of the women always dated at least one white man. Bro. And the whole energy was different. Every single time.
Where your family from, bro?
Oh, my family's Costa Rican.
Costa Rican?
Yeah, Costa Rican.
Okay.
And on my mom's side, Costa Rican and Jamaican.
Yeah.
And it was just, I would see it. You know, everything would just change. Attitude would just change. You know, like they were the accepted white, like it was the white guy that all the women in the family were waiting for. Like everybody was happy, everybody was jovial, but with the baby followers and, you know, it was just, my goodness. So just from my experience, it's like I agree because I'm thinking about that and it goes exactly to the question. And I kind of see it, you know, out and about too. It's kind of like we can never work, but it's kind of like, and it doesn't have to be just even a white guy. It could just be somebody else. Somebody else can just come in and do the job. Somebody else can come in and be the man that I want him to be. And it's funny you said that because like, yeah, you ain't telling him, you know, you too woman enough or you're not man enough for me. It's like, oh, but you calm down, bro. You got much more nice. You start to smile some more. But it's with, you know, with your own, it's like, yo, everything has to be a fight. Everything has to be aggressive. So to me, it's just a weird parallel, but I've seen it, I experienced it, I kind of resonate with that. Like, I agree. From my end.
Okay. And why?
Okay. Yeah, I do think that to a degree there's truth to it. I have seen instances of black women where when they got into an interracial relationship with a white man, they wanted to appease him more, so they would alter their personality in ways that would make him feel more comfortable. Maybe not talk about issues of race or issues of structural racism, white supremacy. They may act as if it doesn't exist because maybe they feel like their mate doesn't believe that it's something that exists, and so in order to make them feel comfortable, that's the line that they'll stick with. And on the other side, what was the other side again?
The other side was not being strong enough to be with a black woman, which is why they're not checking for you or you're not in a relationship.
I do think that for some black men, I think that is true. I do think there are some black men that are like, yo, this is just too much. I'm not built to deal with all this trauma. And I think like the point Joshua brought up earlier about dealing with a white woman, because the expectations in terms of sticking with your partner through the structural racism that's there within a within black relationships. It's not there when you're in an interracial relationship. In the minds of some black men, it's just easier to deal with because the expectations are not the same. And so because the expectations are not the same, I think for some black men, they feel like they have a peace of mind. And so I think it's true. I think there's a level of truth on both sides. I do think some black women do understand that in their minds. I do think some black women feel as if dealing with a black man, a lot of times I do think we're conditioned to not necessarily respect black men. Just, from the media in general, the way black men are portrayed, black women aren't supposed to necessarily think of a black man as someone that they can run to when they're in a crazy situation. If anything, especially when you study like the Willie Lynch syndrome and how the relationship dynamic between black women and black men is so unique. If anything, the black woman is seen as the backbone, and the black woman is the one that's providing. Statistically, they say that black women generally are earning more than black men, and so the black woman wears the pants, and if she's wearing the pants, then the black man is wearing the skirt, and so therefore she can speak to him any type of way. But when you're dealing with that white man, he is the overarching power over everything. He is the man. He's not even the white man, he's the man.
The man.
So then you understand now that he is symbolically above you, and you know that you need to come correct in order to appease this white man, because in your mind, that white man represents power, and you want a piece of that. And so you clutch on to that, because in your mind, being with that white man is a representation of a better life, and you want that better life. And so clinging on to that white man is what's going to get you that. I think that that's the illusion that some black women have. And so they understand that they need to alter their personalities in order to obtain that better life with that white man.
And can I just add to that before anyone else jump in? And going back to my personal experience, I can clearly remember my mother when I guess her and her wife were going to separate. I can clearly remember her really trying to fight to keep that relationship, and the crying and the X, Y, and Z, and we gotta work it out, blah, blah, blah. But, it was like my sister's father, like, I get the fuck out. Like seriously, go ahead and, throwing the clothes, whatever the case. But with that white man, it was like, no, I gotta make it work, because it's like, that standard is like, yo, I don't want this to leave, I guess.
So you felt a different tolerance?
Yes. Okay. Very much so, and I could see it because I'm playing. I'm like, wow, I never fought like that for my dad or like my sister's dad. It was more like, yeah, man, get the hell out, blah blah blah, blah. Yo, here's your clothes, whatever. But with the white man, I saw you run to the car and try to not, like, make sure he didn't drive off, and
That's a lot there.
like seriously. And I'm looking at that out the window, like, wow. I mean, I'm not conscious to that.
Right.
Yeah,
As a 10-year-old.
Right, as a 10-year-old. I see it. And then I'm back like, all right, whatever, play my video game, whatever. That's cool. But like hearing it now, it's like, wow, it hits because it's true. So I agree too. It's just like, wow, and I can just even paint the situation as it happened. So it's just like that.
Top.
I am happy to report I don't know that many people in interracial relationships. I know a lot of happy black couples. But I always make it a point not to make my experience the parameters that I set for these kind of conversations, because I know that that's not everyone's reality. I know that there's a lot of pain and trauma involved when we talk about stuff like this. I know that there's a lot of personal experiences that have really, really harmed and jaded a lot of folks. So I try to just be always cognizant. I think that there is a trophy aspect for both genders. Mm-hmm. I think that some black men really do feel like it's just easier to be with a non-black woman. What's interesting to me is how often some black men will really, really want to be involved with a non-black woman, but they want her to have black features.
But the ghosts.
That fucks me up. Because I'm just like,
I was trying to hold back that laugh.
we all right here with all that shit, and you really went out and got okay. Like, so that is something that's interesting to me, because I feel like at the end of the day, we are what you want, but there's a level of effort required that not everybody is willing to put out. I think that the two things go hand in hand, the not wanting to deal with a black woman's strength and toning it down. I think every interracial relationship, whether the man or the woman is whether your spouse is a white man or a white woman or Indian, Spanish, Asian, whatever, if you can't have conversations about the shit that pertains to you as a black person with that person, they're not for you. Mm-hmm. So all that toning down and, well, I'm not going to talk about race, fuck that. We can't be together. None of us should be doing that. That's self-inflicted trauma, to not be able to go home and rest your head with somebody who understands your struggle. It doesn't, man, woman, that's not fucking healthy. But I've 100% seen, and it's never painted as strength. I see a lot of independent women syndrome. I see that term thrown around a lot. I'm like, black women don't. I hear a lot, black women don't. They act like they don't need us. It's not a matter of necessity. I feel like black women are often put in a position where they have no choice but to be the breadwinner, the provider. I'm cleaning the house and I'm going to work and I'm taking care of the kids. It's not something that is like, oh, this is fun for me. This was my dream. It's like, this is what I got to do, because these babies is here and I got to hold down the fort. I don't think that that's something that should be like demonized. There has to be a level of understanding for why some black women have developed these hard exteriors. I think that there's a lot more care shown for our men, because I feel like when we have our communal conversations, we focus on our men. Whether we're talking about prison reform or police brutality, we make it a point to, I feel these men and these boys, how to protect these men and these boys. And I feel like what he was saying about the community, that's really, really crucial. So I know sometimes it seems like, oh man, this feminazi girl, here she go again, talking about the women and the girls. But I just want to make sure that we are acknowledging that so much of our trauma is compounded because of these different things, because of our genders, because of our sides, right? A fat black woman has a completely different struggle from me. A queer black woman has a completely different struggle from me. Somebody who's disabled, like there's so many levels to this shit. And we have to be mindful. So it's even deeper than, oh, men, women, like there are so many lanes that we are inhabiting. So even like with the nerd conversation, we really need to make space for each other, and we need to be sure that, like we're always talking about, like a seat at the table, even if one of us is there, like there's so many, we gotta make space for each other.
To touch on what was just discussed, there's also, you said something about, and I don't know who specifically said it, but how black men feel it's easier sometimes.
Yeah, I said that.
That is literally something that I've heard.
I hear that a lot.
Spoken from black men. So I would never deny that, right? So my question, as you lead into your response, is to also answer, do you feel it's easier to date outside of your race as opposed to dating a black woman? Not whether or not it's better,
if it's easier,
but if it's easier.
I got you. All right. So, to jump into the conversation, I'm gonna start from nature because that's what always helps me be clear. Nature is how God set it in motion. Society, we make choices how we want to, right? We reinterpret whenever we want to. But I look at society, nature, because that shows how God made it happen, right? So when I look at animals and nature, they don't integrate, yo. Animals don't integrate. A lion is a big cat, and a jaguar is a big cat, but they never get together. A tiger don't never get with a puma, ever. A chicken don't get with a turkey don't get with an eagle. It just don't happen. A robin don't get with a blue jay. It just don't happen. They all birds, they all cats. The only time you see this happen is in a domesticated, colonized animal. You see what I'm saying? Colonized dogs get with any other kind of dog. A colonized cat will drink milk. No other animal outside of childhood drinks milk. You see what I'm saying? But when you colonize the thing, they start taking on behaviors that ain't natural to them. So that's how I'm going to enter this conversation. So when I start thinking about interracial relationships and asking me, is it easier for a black man to be with a white woman? No, it's not. Not if you're being a black man. If you want to stick on boy mode, or you just want to negate blackness, or you just want to ignore the reality of reality, then okay, it's less challenging. That's the language I used before. I don't say it's easier, but it's less challenging. And I say that, let me be real clear about why I'm saying it's less challenging. As a black man who is historically aware, I know that we have failed black women when it comes to how the Western invaders came and we let them dominate our whole system. Make us not be the manly protectors and put women into a position that's not theirs. So we failed in that aspect. And we know it. We're not even confused about it. We feel ashamed of it, we feel crappy about it, but we don't know how to stop it because we ain't got all the nuclear bombs and guns and whips and, you know what I mean, all the torture tools that they came ready with. It's not even in our soul to be like that. So we don't know how to battle that. So we like, well, if I can't kill him, what's my other options? And then we look to the black woman and she's like, don't fight him because I don't want you to die either. Just stay with me. Yes, we both got raped by this dude, but let's not kill him. We'll be okay together. And I'm like, having had a couple 100 years of that, men have found some way to convince themselves it might be true, and it's not. Black men will never feel okay until they deal with the historical reality that our women have been violated right in front of us. And black women ain't forgotten either. So when we come together, then the black woman is looking at a black man like, I remember to you. And he's looking at her like, I remember to you. And they both might be feeling like, I hope you don't. Especially the black man, because he's like, damn, what can I do? How can I fix this? And if I can't fix this, how can I get you to look at me like a real black man? How can I get you to acknowledge that if a white man walks in this room, you're not going to look at him as the authority in the room now? How do I stay the authority in your life the entire time, no matter who else is around? We don't know. And so what happens is when you get with a black woman who gives you that look like, are you a real black man? He's like, oh shit, I don't know. I don't know. Do I have to prove that? Let me go get with a white woman who ain't never going to ask me that. You see what I'm saying? So it's less challenging. It means I don't have to deal with my own self-hate, my own shame, my own anger of why ain't I protecting this black woman in this situation? Why did Sandra Bland go through that? Why did this sister in Waffle House get snatched up like that? And all these, like, brothers standing there, there's a brother in that video. But you only hear the woman friend who's videoing, there's a brother right there who don't do nothing the whole time. And that pissed me off. Like, bro, you should have deaded that before the cops ever got there. That's how I was thinking. Because I'm a healed black man, at least 90%. But most of us ain't even got 50%. So you go look at a real black woman, not one that's Stacey dashed up. You look at a real black woman that's expecting you to show some real Africanness in yourself, some real God in your soul. And all you remember is the shame and the inability to deal with this scarcity power structure. Then it is one of the hardest things to look at a black woman and be like, damn, I can't hold you down. I'm not on your level. You are too strong for me. Because you held it down and told me to hide because he kept fucking with me, but he wasn't doing that to you. He kept killing and beating and all that. So you said, you got it. Now I've been hiding so long, I don't even know how to stand up no more. I'll be looking at you like, can you handle that, please? Like, you the strong, angry black woman. Can you go be angry for me? And I felt that myself. When I was married, it was certain times I was like, yo, you know how to snap on people. I'm a peaceful dude. Can you go snap? And she would look at me like, what? And I'm like, what you mean, what? You a snapper. Later on, I'm like, okay, I get why she felt that way. But she was a snapper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, why she? But that's what I'm saying is that we don't always look at it like that. As black men, I don't think we're conscious of the shame. We feel it. It's in our DNA, yo. We can't avoid it. So when we see that black woman that's looking at us like, are you real? We're like, do I have to prove it? Like, I left my card at home. Let me come back, sis. I'm gonna be right back. And then we go to the white girl's house. Like, you ain't asking for cards. Y'all not carding here, are you? You see what I'm saying? They're not carding us. They're not asking us to show and prove that we'll be masculine and manly no matter who steps up. In fact, white women often know the oppression of white men. You see what I'm saying? They was the first ones to really catch it. So they can identify with us. And they like, oh, you don't have to fight on me neither. Let's go not fight together. Whereas black women's like, hey, I've been fighting a long ass time, my G. Like, when you getting in here, we like, I don't want to jump in. You handling that. You got it, girl. It's almost done. That's where I think the idea of a black woman is too strong for a black man. But I would say a black woman is too strong for a black boy. A black man is ready to go. I know black men. We ready. We looking for the black woman that's ready. We looking for the black woman that's not going to tell us go get a job. It's going to say, hey, go bring a neck for me. Hey, go get a nation for me. Can you go scoop up some of these foster children before some white people steal them and steal they, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want. It's pillow talk. That's what I want. Don't tell me to go get a promotion for the white man to rape both of us. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me to go work for and move up in the world that raped and murdered my parents and my grandparents. Don't tell me that, black woman. You see what I'm saying? I say that, but most black men ain't even got to that level of conscience. They ain't read that much. They ain't self-searched enough. So they just like, oh, y'all bitches be tripping. Y'all got fucking attitudes. Let me just chill. I'm trying to play my Madden. You know what I'm saying?
Twiddling their thumbs for hours at a time.
But, so, I say Madden because men like games because it's where they succeed.
I was just thinking 2K, but you got it.
It's where they succeed, and men need to succeed. And we don't feel successful with black women because y'all always see the flaw in us. And y'all always expect us to be gods. And we feel like slaves.
We see the God in you.
Exactly. And we don't. So when y'all come with us like, God up, we're like, what, nigga? Can I just beg a little bit more? Can I just go barefoot and let my pants sag a little bit more? Just let me not get killed like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Let me not get Patrice Lumumba. Let me not get Steve Biko. Like, don't make me be a strong black man. Like, it's in us. But Rosa Parks didn't get assassinated. Coretta didn't get assassinated. Harriet didn't get assassinated. Sojourner didn't get assassinated. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't get assassinated. You see what I'm saying? Like, the black women don't get assassinated. So y'all feel like, I'm going to be strong. I can handle this. Black men, we look at our role models like, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get exiled. I'm going to get in prison. Black women, do good, black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the real dynamic that I've come to understand. And so, I understand why the black women too is then like, damn, you ain't gonna step on to be a man with me? I need a man. Like, I done stood up and got my real goddess woman on. Look what I did for the past 100 years. You don't want to step over with me? Then I can't rock with you. I would never tell a black woman to rock with a boy. I feel bad that she feels like white boys are white men. Sometimes maybe they even do find a white man. I don't know. I've only seen one in my life that I know of for sure. Seriously. And I don't mean that like in no disrespectful way. I mean that in a maturity way, in an emotional way, in a mental way, in a how do you deal with hardships? How do you deal with other people? If you're on some childish, selfish, you can't appreciate other people, you're on that narcissistic, I ain't with that. Like, that's the narcissistic, capitalistic, scarcity mindset. That's not African. That's not indigenous. That's not us. And so when we start talking about these dynamics of black men not being strong enough or white women toning it down, of course, like, that's humanity, honestly. That's not black or white, that's humanity. Women, when they see somebody who is in authority, they feel like, cool, now I can be chilling womanly. But if you a boy, I gotta be the mama. I gotta be hard, I gotta be stern, I gotta discipline your little childish ass. Versus if they see a man, they're like, oh, shit, I'm soft and gentle. Hey, take care of me, big strong man. So I get it, I ain't hating. But we're in a place where they're like, it ain't no gender roles. Everybody can be whatever they want. And that confusion that we be buying from other people's culture got us confused. So now we celebrating the Meghan, that's her name, Meghan Markle. She ain't even the first one. There's like, there was another black woman that got married. You know what I mean? She's not the first one, but because our history mentality is so short, it's like old school rappers is, damn, 21 Savage because he's from last month. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything last month is ancient history to us. So we don't know nothing no more, man. We don't know how dope we are. We don't know, hell yeah, they've been wanting black women all along. That's why they came and raped the hell out of them. This ain't new. It's only new that they sang it out loud. And that shouldn't make us proud that our rapists are finally saying, hey, we accept you in public. I ain't proud of that. You saw how the mama was looking at that lady. Y'all saw a little meme with the mama look like, I will steal her melanin tonight.
I did see
So
that.
you saw that meme, right? So I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed by Donald Glover being with a white woman, it's not impressive. I don't really care. They got children and all. I like Atlanta. I like the video. I didn't know he was with a white woman. It doesn't affect my enjoyment. It does affect my understanding of him as a black man, for sure. Art is art. When I look at this, I don't know who painted it. If I enjoy it, I enjoy it. Cool. But I don't separate art from artist because I know you can't separate the tree from the mango. You know what I mean? The mango it came from got everything that was in that
Sure
tree.
we can. Meet R. Kelly.
Bruh, I walk out the club, I ask people in their car, can I turn it off?
Of course we can
Since we-
separate the art from the artist.
I can't.
We should wind it down on time. We're going to close it up real quick, just on this specific section. I
Can I
kind
just
of don't
briefly
want
say
to.
that it was definitely not a unanimous celebration of this royal wedding, and that there were hella people on my timeline like, why are y'all so
No.
goddamn excited? Does the girl even identify as black? I don't want the consensus to be that this was a widespread, like a couple of publications took that and they ran with it. They same way they did with that stupid ass Michael B. Jordan story, but I promise you, a lot of us were out here like, why are y'all celebrating this?
Yeah.
Joining with the British Empire. Like, what? They owe us money too. We need to give our shit back. Like, what?
Okay. So, I feel like we still need to have even more of a conversation in regards to that, because then I want to touch on the topic of something that you said earlier with respect to basically non-black people adopting black children and having that conversation as well.
Y'all gotta come back for part 2
But
for that.
yeah, we'll have that at another time. So what we're going to do right now, because we got a few minutes left. I don't know if y'all remember, we did the little remix thing.
Oh, Lord.
I remember.
Okay, so
You had us in the house with ghosts and all types of magic
the
stuff.
remix.
No doors to get out.
No windows. Come on. My dog was in danger. You was, man.
Basically, we pose a question that has completely zero relevance at all to the topic that we just discussed.
Right.
It's just a fun thing, and we just have everybody here answer said question. So, I guess I'll ask this. This is just random. In the zombie apocalypse,
This man said, all right.
you get to choose one object in your house as your weapon, and then you get to choose one location where you're going to be able to defend yourself at. And then you can pick 2 other people to join you.
Oh, yeah.
So, who are the 2 people? Why have you chosen them? What's your weapon? And where will you guys survive this apocalypse? And I won't pick any order. Y'all can answer in whichever order you feel.
That's a lot.
Right. I need a weapon.
It has to be in your house. It has to be from your house. Because it has to be something that you're like, I have access to. Oh, let me grab this.
Okay.
So, yes.
I'm not all the way up on zombie information.
Which means it's realistic.
How do you kill zombies? You gotta take their head off.
Headshot.
You gotta
You
do
gotta
it.
shoot their
Something to
head.
the brain.
You gotta do
Either
So
cut
something
their head
to the
off, damage, brain damage, whatever it is.
Above the neck, I gotta say.
Okay.
Anything else, they still come.
Yeah, you
Yes.
take a leg off, they still come. You take an arm off,
Yeah.
torso, they.
So I'm going for the head. I'm going for the
All
head.
right.
Mhm.
I'll take a stab at it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be.
Was that literal?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that. Pun intended.
I'm gonna be by the door so I can get out.
Mm-hmm.
My weapon's gonna be an apple pick so I can stab him.
Okay.
Oh, so you give a black power guy?
And then, the pick with the fist. And I can still keep my throw on point afterwards.
Multi-talented, that's multi-purpose.
She's thinking.
Now, when I say location, though, I mean, do you want to be in a city, like in a mall somewhere? Would you prefer to be out in the woods somewhere? Would you
I don't want to be the
alone?
woods.
Now, keep in mind, let's pretend like the majority of humanity is gone at this point.
I actually wouldn't mind being in a mall because, again, I could use my pick again and break in some windows and just go into stores that have food. So I'd have food, shelter because I'm in the mall, clothing because there are a bunch of clothes in the mall.
What else? Now, wait, who are the 2 people you would bring with you? Because I'm gonna tell you a reference, and but tell me who the two people that you would bring with you. Or you just
I'm gonna bring Malcolm X because I think he's always up for a fight, and I'm gonna bring Muhammad Ali because he got the one too.
Okay, so Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Now we talking Muhammad at his prime, or
Yeah, that's the five. That's the
Okay.
five. You know what?
They didn't see it.
I'm so mad. So angry and nobody's saying
Okay, so Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali in the mall.
Yeah.
I need you to watch Dawn of the Dead, and I'm gonna leave it there
Okay.
because they ran into a mall.
Okay.
But outside of the mall, it just so happened that everybody who passed and were zombies congregated on the outside of the mall.
Well, then we just gonna fight
And they were just in the mall. But anyway, okay, so go ahead.
I got you. The biggest kitchen knife I have, I've watched enough Walking Dead. You just gotta boop, bop, bop. Kitchen knife. I want to be in I want to say a hospital, but hospitals have too many entrances and exits. So I'm gonna say CVS or some kind of pharmacy/store because there's medicine, there's water, there's food. I'm not pressed about foods. We need medicine, food, and water, and light preferably, and only one door. Just the one door that we can guard easily.
You're too
I was immediately thinking my husband because I know he could whoop some ass and he's very smart. Like, the zombies are not getting into CVS. It's my husband is there. So, it's lit. I can't think of anyone else because I wouldn't want to put anyone I actually know in that situation. But my husband ain't. If this is something
Okay, so just
populous,
you and your husband.
we are
in this
You're
together.
riding out.
We ride or die.
Okay, I can see that. But now, just to throw that, I'm a huge zombie fan, so that's why. But you always know there's somebody who's dead in the back somewhere.
you right, one of those
Pops
pharmacies.
up because they were bitten. They ran in there thinking the same thing you did.
Right.
Was like, oh, I'm gonna be all right. And
So we black. So we gonna check the whole shebang before we set up.
there we go.
We're
Okay,
checking every room.
so we got
jail
We're not gonna have that problem.
Tristan, or we got.
Oh, you was here?
Checking your
Can
cavities.
Can I see your neck? Oh, all right. You can stay.
Hey, cough. Okay, who's
All
next? So which one do you go?
You know your answer, bro? I'm still thinking.
I'm still thinking too.
Why jump in with my half answer? I'm gonna grab the machete. Got to have one in the house in case you need to open coconuts or zombies. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna grab the machete since we got to take heads off. I'd like to have Wesley Snipes around. He seems official. Outside of movie theaters, dude is official. He know how to cut off dead people's heads and things. You know what I mean? That sounds official. I think dude's all right. If I could bring Dr. Sadie back, I might have him around, or Dr. Africa. I'm gonna take one of them. I need a murderer and a healer. You know what I mean? And if I could have both in one, I'd take two of those. You know what I mean?
And
Two
where do you
doubles.
want to be?
But where? See, I'm thinking somewhere I like the idea you gotta have food and medicine around. Just I feel like a safe place is the water towers. You know what I mean? Give me a water tower. There ain't a lot of ways to get to
Bro,
it.
there's always a zombie hidden in the water.
In the water tower?
See,
That's why I don't watch zombie movies. They may be pessimistic. I feel like this got a water tower. It's what zombie want to just climb random ass ladders?
Maybe that one lone white person that fell in there.
I can take out one. That's why I got Wesley with me. We gonna take out the one.
You right.
And then it's just one at a time trying to come up the ladder. So I'm like, pink, pink, pink. We good. I got my machete, so I'm gonna just build a mountain at the bottom of this ladder.
Unless it's them World War Z zombies that
There
climb
you
on
go.
top of each other,
Yes.
and then
That's uncomfortable.
okay. So Tristan.
Well, I'm not gonna give a complete answer, but 'cause I'm still thinking about that. People that I would bring, the weapon of choice. If not the machete, what's the?
No, but it gotta be in your house.
Chainsaw.
It gotta be in your house. You got a
What
chainsaw
gotta
in
be?
your house?
So I'm
It
going
gotta
to
be
the
something you
house.
can grab.
Right now.
I didn't know if you was just like, hey, let me get my chainsaw.
Let me just- I look around cast iron skillet looking good.
Shoot, man.
Yo.
How do firearms work with zombies?
As long as you're
bring
good
the
and you
shit,
aim
though.
and you have
But
ammo.
the thing is, they're allowed, so you'll attract them.
Yeah, they come to you,
Yeah,
they hear the
it's all
noise,
lore, yo. It's different.
and you can run out of ammo.
So I get silenced.
And hella ammo.
Or you can put a potato on the end of it.
You gotta scope it and it's too much work.
Too much focus.
It's too much work.
You gotta be like Nate, holding a bunch of things at a time.
I'll take it. I'll take the fire on, even if it's gonna be loud. I don't know. I'll take that.
I mean, it's really good.
That's like the most powerful weapon I have.
Okay.
You know, and where I would be, inside of a Mack truck. So I could just be hitting them, just riding over, backing them out, riding all of them again. If it's 300 coming, I'm like, all right, come.
Wait, okay.
Do people live on boats to escape the zombies?
They have.
That's always been
I've
my
seen
idea.
it.
However,
And the two people.
go ahead. You're two people, and I'm gonna address something and close it out. We got like 60 seconds.
I'll bring Thanos and Marvel.
He's not dying.
You can't bring Thanos.
He's not dying.
You didn't tell him he couldn't bring Thanos, so now he can bring
I
Thanos.
said friends.
First of
You
all,
ain't
you
friends
just
with
snapped
Thanos.
his finger.
You were snapping on
Bring
me
it.
like
Like,
zombies.
not even. Here. Ain't no more
Okay,
zombies.
so-
So Thanos pulled it so.
Slight flaw. Eventually, you're gonna run out of gas, and they are not gonna be. If you pay attention to the zombie movies, they're always siphoning gas from different cars. They're trying to get a car to work because it breaks down. If you're not a mechanic, you're gonna run into problems because now you can be stuck with a bunch of zombies around your Mack truck, and you ain't gonna have no food. Where did you say you were gonna be?
A boat now, bro.
A boat. The end of
I fish.
the Mole movie, they
Got
got
a
out and they got on a boat. And when they were driving, they went so far they had to get off and they had to go on the island, and there were zombies already on the island. Like eventually,
Zombies can swim?
no, but they were on a park that connected from another area, and those people just flooded that area.
Better nap, yo.
Dawn of the Dead, watching, you see us.
I'm not gonna lie.
But anyway, okay, so
We cannot do it.
I'm surprised nobody picked Will Smith, even if he was real.
I was
I don't know why y'all didn't think
I was thinking that.
I'm gonna leave it like that.
For what?
Okay, so
so
we're gonna end
First
here.
off,
We're gonna stop
that
off our lives. Thank everybody who did watch the live
Thanks for
And
is
commented.
going to watch it.
They were in these comments, boy.
Angelique, Michelle, everybody who was able to join in, and we're going to actually be back again for another session. We're trying to do this once a month. If you're interested in being a part of the session, hit Taji Mag or CC the series or the One Will Focus, whatever way you can, and we'll try and get you in on the series. You got to be in New York, obviously. But anyway, we hope you all enjoyed. If you have further comments, hit us up, and then we'll deliver them to the respective people. All right, y'all can peace out, say goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye.
victory.